Alright, so Dwight Howard's ex, Royce Reed, decided to let loose and put all his dirty laundry out there for everyone to see. And the drama is messier than anyone could have predicted. Things between them are beyond tense. And Dwight just got a harsh reminder that Royce is not the one to mess with. She's always locked and loaded when it comes to bringing the drama. This time, she's not just spilling a little tea about Dwight, she's throwing the whole kettle. Apparently, there are some wild allegations involving Dwight and Diddy, and Royce seems to have a lot to say on the matter. As if that wasn't enough chaos, Dwight's fiancée, Luciani, is reportedly over it. Word is she might just call it quits and leave him in the middle of all this mess. This drama is about to be a train wreck, so let's break this down. Before we dive into Royce's latest tea about Dwight, let's rewind a bit because this isn't Dwight's first time being accused of playing for both teams. Back in 2018, influencer Masin Elijè spilled some tea, claiming he and Dwight had been in some kind of intimate relationship. According to Masin, things took a nasty turn when Dwight started disrespecting him, and it got even messier when Dwight allegedly threatened him. He tweeted, "I was afraid to speak, but today my life was threatened after I was harassed, threatened and manipulated by someone I respected, my ex-boyfriend NBA player Dwight Howard. I met Dwight a while back, at Wild 'N Out to be exact. We made eye contact, and a week later he was in my DMs. The conversation started, escalating to nudes being sent, escalating to me blowing his mind, and him calling me every night on Instagram video chat. He also posted screenshots of where he asked Dwight, 'Does your mother, brother, friends know that you like to deal with trans men and men? Or that's just something you've kept to yourself?' But Dwight refused to reply. According to Masin, things turned left when he found out that Dwight was cheating on him with a SW trans woman who was born biologically male. Not just that, but the woman also used to host trans parties, which Dwight was a frequent attendee. And when Elijè confronted Dwight, Dwight threatened to beat him up. However, Dwight denied the allegations, claiming that he had never even met Masin. But that wasn't the last time.
I'm like, why would somebody who I've never met, never had any contact with, make up a whole story about me? Be free.
Meaning you're not gay?
I'm not gay, so just, it's a lot of people who are, and they have to hide.
Because in 2023, Dwight was sued by a man who claimed that he and Dwight had met on Instagram, and they agreed to meet up to do the nasty, if you catch my drift. Here's where it gets even messier. The other man, Stephen Harper, filed a lawsuit against Dwight, claiming he was forced into non-consensual intimate activity. Now, here's the twist. Stephen was actually the one who made the first move, sliding into Dwight's DMs on Instagram using a burner Twitter account. In the leaked screenshots, Stephen dropped his phone number in Dwight's DMs, and for whatever reason, that devil emoji Dwight replied with was all it took to start a conversation. Stephen followed up with "sup sexy," and Dwight hit him back with "none you." Stephen mentioned he was about to hop in the shower, and they kept the convo going, chatting about their lives and what they had planned for the day. Dwight and Stephen made plans to link up whenever they were both in Atlanta. At one point, Dwight asked Stephen for his main IG page, which Stephen sent over. And, well, Dwight must have liked what he saw because he didn't waste any time asking Stephen for some intimate pictures. You know the kind. Stephen obliged, and Dwight was clearly feeling the vibes because he asked for even more. That's when things really started heating up, and they began making some serious plans to meet up and, let's just say, get real familiar with each other. Stephen asked, "I got you, Poppy, also, what are you into? Do you like freaky-ish?" And Dwight said, "Yes, I'm into freaky-ish. Now, I want you to know I'm not like gay or anything. I'm just ale nasty sometimes. Lon wanna offend you." The plans to meet up kept rolling, and Dwight wasn't shy about asking for even more explicit pictures, specifically ones involving a certain type of, facial situation. Eventually, Dwight cut to the chase and told Stephen to pull up. And chilly, Stephen wasted no time. As soon as Dwight dropped the address, Stephen was ready. He booked an Uber with the quickness and was on his way to Dwight's house like he'd been waiting for this moment his whole life. According to Stephen, things took a turn when Dwight brought up the idea of having a three-way, asking if Stephen would be into it with either a man or a woman. Stephen shut it down, saying he wasn't comfortable with that, especially since it was their first time meeting in person. Dwight seemed cool with it at the time, and when Stephen arrived, things started off pretty chill. They kissed and made out a little. But then, things got interesting. Dwight stepped out of the room for a moment and came back with someone else, a man dressed as a woman who introduced himself as Kitty. Dwight then announced that they were going to have a three-way, even though Stephen made it clear he wasn't into that type of freaky business, at least not yet. According to Radar Online, Stephen said Dwight wanted a three-way with Kitty, but he resisted. He said Kitty started performing oral action on Dwight. Stephen said he was uncomfortable and did not want to participate. He said Dwight tried to touch his thigh and stoked his area through his underwear. Stephen said he asked Dwight to stop. Instead of listening, he claimed Dwight told him he was going to do whatever and he was going to like it. This sounds bad, but it gets worse because court documents went on to say that defendant stood up towering over Stephen, grabbed Stephen by the thighs, forcibly removed Stephen's underwear, held Stephen down, and performed non-consensual oral action on Stephen. Stephen was in fear of imminent bodily harm when he was pinned down and forced to remain in place while defendant continued to essay him. Stephen said Dwight stopped performing the action on him when he realized Stephen wasn't enjoying it. But somehow it gets even worse because Stephen claimed that Dwight continued to essay him. Radar Online went on to say that the suit said Dwight then ordered Stephen to his bed. Harper said Kitty was having intimacy with Dwight. Stephen said Dwight forced him to perform oral action on him. He said he tried to call an Uber after the incident, but Dwight made Kitty take him home. The alleged incident went down in 2021, and by 2022, Stephen had filed a police report laying out the same claims he's making in the lawsuit. But here's where it gets even wilder. After everything went down, Kitty drove Stephen home and allegedly threatened him, saying if he didn't keep quiet, he'd unalive him with a bullet to the head. That's probably why Dwight insisted on Kitty driving Stephen home instead of letting him call an Uber. Suspicious much? At first, Dwight tried to play dumb, claiming he didn't know Stephen and accusing him of being a clout chaser just looking to stir up drama. But as more receipts started piling up, Dwight had to come clean. He eventually released a statement through his lawyer, admitting to the interactions but insisting that everything that happened was completely consensual. The statement said, "The three agreed to touch one another and to engage in consensual, intimate activity. What was a private consensual encounter was made public for profit, and Mr. Howard looks forward to bringing the truth to light in a court of law." Despite being an easy target due to the subject matter and his status as a celebrity, Mr. Howard chose to trust in the justice system and will rely on all future court filings to speak for themselves. Dwight's whole defense rests on the claim that Stephen was completely on board with the three-way from the jump. According to Dwight, Stephen already knew Kitty was coming over before he even pulled up and had no problem with it. At this point, it turned into a classic he said, she said situation, with both sides sticking to their stories. Stephen decided to be messy because he decided to leak Kitty's picture on social media and give a more detailed explanation of what happened. He said, "With all due respect, Kitty is an older, unattractive person in their 40s. Hours into me being at Dwight Howard's home, he ambushed me with this person. Kitty walked in with a full beard, 2-inch heels, and a 28-piece church wig. Immediately, I was thrown off, uncomfortable, and expressed that I wanted to leave. The situation was truly traumatic and has affected me in many ways. Out of fear and intimidation, I did not speak. However, I will not sit back and allow lies to be told about me. I was not Dwight's first victim, but hopefully, I'm his last." This got the internet buzzing, and Dwight finally said, "What I do in my bedroom is my business. Where I lay my wood is my business. I don't have to explain anything that goes on in my house. Y'all are too damn nosy." Rapper Boozy Badazz even came out to hint that Dwight was on the DL, and he urged Dwight to come out of the closet.
Absolutely. I would tell him, confess to the press.
Confess to the press.
Confess to the press, man. Stop playing, man. Real man. You like.
Yeah.
Confess to the press, man. I mean, this ain't 1990. This ain't.
Yeah.
You ain't nobody. You're not gonna be banned from certain.
No.
So the SA case was dismissed in court and the drama seemed to fizzle out for a while. But now, with Royce Reed's fresh claims, it's starting to look like this might not have been Dwight's only time getting mixed up with other men. Royce came through with some serious tea, and trust me, it's more than messy. She's bringing up a whole new level of drama that makes everything from before look like child's play. What exactly did she say? Well, let's just say she's not holding back. Royce is spilling the kind of tea that could blow the lid off Dwight's whole situation, and it's got people talking. Royce came through with a spicy 3-part series titled I Had a Baby with Superman, and she didn't hold back a single thing. She dragged Dwight Howard for filth in the most public way possible, airing out everything from cheating allegations to claims of mistreatment during their relationship. But what really set the internet on fire was when she casually dropped a bombshell about Dwight allegedly attending secret parties thrown by Diddy. But wait, it gets wilder. Royce didn't stop there. She threw in a cryptic hint that Dwight might have even rocked a red dress to one of these infamous shindigs. Chilly, the visuals. For years, the rumor mill has been buzzing about Diddy's legendary parties, those exclusive high-profile events where allegedly all kinds of wild stuff goes down. And Royce's comments? They were like tossing gasoline onto that fire, suggesting that Dwight and possibly some other big names might have been involved in these notorious gatherings. Well, she went off on him a couple of days ago, accusing him of going out of his way to make things difficult for her. She wrote, I tried to take the high road. One promise I did. But when you mess with my money and the means I need to raise my our child, then claim I don't work. Kiss my entire no penetration. Emma tell it all. I told you to leave me TF alone. Now get your popcorn for this, Mr. Sassy. She continued. I said leave me alone several times for years. I tried to mind my business as much as possible, I'm human, and moved on. Yet people call me everything besides my name. I let PPL run with false narratives. I was told it'll blow ever. It's not worth it. Just lay low. Nah, not anymore. Every time I start dating someone, he starts acting a fool. Swear. Fall for the fake-ish if you want to. There's a pattern. This may be none of y'all business, but since it's spoken on, I have a right to speak not just my truth, but the only truth. She continued, "This evil son of Satan refuses to allow me to be happy. Every year he does some dumb-ish, then acts oblivious and blames his attorneys claiming to not know, using kids, family deaths, and extortion tactics just to smile on the internet or cry victim is terrifying. So get the F out of here with this BS, run my mama her money back, and tell the damn truth. Now get your popcorn on that. No one needs to call me or calm me down. I'm sick of this crap show. I'm talking for real now. He can't take ish else from me, so what am I losing?" After dropping all that tea in her series, she went live to drag Dwight for FILTH. She exposed him not just for allegedly throwing wild parties, but also for attending those infamous Diddy parties, where he supposedly wore a red dress. I mean, talk about taking it all the way there. Royce didn't hold anything back, spilling all the details that could definitely leave Dwight's reputation in tatters.
So when you sit here and you think that I'm bitter about him being engaged to somebody else, it's a cycle. It's a PR stunt. And he's gonna probably follow through with it. But it's because he knows that the real about him is coming out. Ask him about Ray Edwards and their parties. Ask him about the red dress that he wore during a Diddy party. Like, we're not gonna do that. I know too much, and the reason I'm talking now is because if something happens to me, y'all know why.
As wild as all of this sounds, it's actually starting to make a lot more sense to fans, especially when you connect all the pieces. There's been talk on social media for a while now, and what Royce is revealing seems to line up pretty well with what we already know. When you think about Diddy's infamous parties, they've always been described as wild, and I'm talking about the kind of wild where the unexpected is practically guaranteed. We've heard a ton of rumors, from crazy antics to the alleged participation of men dressing up as women. It's been an open secret in some circles that these parties are not for the faint of heart. And now, with Royce's comments about Dwight's involvement, it's really making people step back and think, this could be a lot closer to the truth than we realized. But here's where it gets even crazier. You factor in Dwight's own SA allegations, and the plot starts to thicken. The alleged victim in that case said that Dwight tried to pressure him into engaging in intimate activity with a man dressed as a woman. Now, when you combine that with the rumors about Diddy's parties where men allegedly dress as women, it starts to feel like there might be more to these stories than just coincidence. The pieces are all fitting together in a way that feels less like a series of random events and more like one big tangled web of drama. People are starting to see a clear connection, and suddenly, the whispers that have circulated about Diddy's parties aren't just rumors anymore, they're taking on a whole new dimension. It's almost as if Royce's comments have uncovered the tip of the iceberg, shining a light on things that many thought were only speculative. What she's saying is making fans look at the entire situation differently, especially when it comes to Dwight's previous allegations and his ties to Diddy. And let's not ignore the timing of all of this either. With Royce opening up about these details now, it's adding a fresh layer to everything we already knew. People are starting to realize that these parties might not just be random wild nights, they could have been the backdrop for a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes behavior that's just now starting to surface. At this point, it's clear that the internet is buzzing, and with each new claim Royce makes, the drama only deepens. What might have seemed like a series of unrelated events is now starting to look like a much bigger picture one that includes not just Dwight and Royce, but possibly a whole host of other figures who might have been involved in these allegedly shady activities. The way everything is unfolding, you have to wonder just how many more secrets are still lurking beneath the surface, waiting to be exposed. Well, it looks like Dwight is not a fan of Royce airing out his business, and he had his lawyers send her a cease and desist. Royce shared a picture of the letter on her Instagram and wrote, "Welp, we knew this was coming. Guess it's too many people on my side now. Ant just crawling up that leg. Hashtag BitBeBite. Hashtag cease and desist. What more do you want from me? I guess you're going to send the whole world a cease and desist, huh? Coward." Yeah, Royce is not here to play with Dwight because she is ready to drag him for filth no matter what it takes. And according to insiders, his fiancée, Amy Luciani, is sick and tired of these allegations about her man. Before Royce Reed came out to call him him out, Amy was allegedly prepared to overlook what happened in the past because the past is the past. However, Royce's revelations took it to a whole new level with the whole Diddy allegations and the claims that Dwight wore a red dress to Diddy's freak-offs. Diddy is already a major outcast in Hollywood, and being associated with him could result in a big scandal. Plus, there are also rumors that she feels a type of way about being with a man who claims to be straight, but has had more gay scandals than anybody can count. According to The Insider, Amy is reconsidering the engagement, and honestly, who can blame her? Anywho, I want to know how you guys feel about this, so drop your thoughts in the comments and then check out this next video.